Hey, I'm Jessie. Welcome. This is going to be a stretch practice for after a workout, sometime when you're kind of stiff, or if you went skating and haven't done it in 20 years, or if you just had a really big workout. I do have a block nearby, and if you have a block, it will probably come in handy, but it's definitely not required. You can usually even get away with using pillows around your couch, things like that, if you don't have anything. So let's come to seated. If you've got a mat, use it. If not, pick a spot on your carpet. That's pretty good too. I mean, I'm saying carpet because it's softer. Entirely your choice. All right, come on to seated. And let's start by extending the right leg long down the length of the mat. And the left foot is going to come to the inner right leg somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. Try to sit tall. You can use your hands behind you to shift your body up nice and long and straight. And if you have a little more range than that, see if you could start to walk your hands forward. The whole time we're trying to keep the spine nice and straight as we come forward. So it's a long spine. Does not at all matter how close you get to the foot in any way. Pause here, breathe here. When we breathe in these stretches, we really want to try to send our breath deep into the body so that the abdomen moves. So it's a breath that expands your rib cage out to the side and expands your stomach down. And the whole time we're doing these stretches, it's important that you're breathing really easy, really normal. That sets our nervous system up to know that we mean to be doing this, that this is safe. We are not having our tissues torn apart. Our nervous system, when we hold our breath or when we clench our jaw, starts to receive those signals that you're not entirely comfortable, not entirely happy, and then it's going to think something is wrong. Good. Slowly walk yourself back up to seated. If you hinged forward at all, let's switch legs, same thing. So left leg extends out long, right foot comes to the inside of the left leg somewhere. Again, most important that you can get yourself up onto your sit bones and sit tall. And if that means hands or even a wall behind you, that's fine. Or if it means hands maybe in front, that's good too. That long spine, if you have the range to do it, starts to come forward. And again, finding that easy breath. Can you relax your shoulders a little more? Relax through your fingers, your toes, your jaw. So perhaps, unlike your workout, in this kind of a practice, we really don't want to try too hard. We want to keep things fairly simple. And I probably could get myself further into this stretch, but this is a point where I feel something and it's still really easy. So that's the best place to be. Give yourself one more good breath there. And then again, slow, you can help yourself back up to seated. This time bring your left foot in to join the right foot. So you're pressing the soles of the feet into each other. You can hold on to ankles or feet. The intention is to try to get the heels in, but without rounding your back and sitting back onto your tailbone. You do want to be up onto your sit bones, and if that means the feet are a little further away, that's fine. And we're not trying to push the knees to the floor either, we're trying to push the heels into each other. So press your heels into each other, think of reaching out long through the knees. And in this one, let's do a round spine. So you're going to start to tuck your chin, round your upper back, trying to stay nice and close. I like to imagine kind of the way a snail curls upon itself in its shell. Imagining that you might even get the top of your head down to your feet. Again, how far you get in that direction does not matter, it's just a direction. When you get to your end place, hang out there and breathe. And you may find that by letting your body sway slightly to the left or slightly to the right, that there's a spot that feels good for you to stretch. So add that in if it feels good. One more good breath there too. And nice and slow, start working yourself back up to seated. You can use your hands back behind the knees to draw them up towards each other, and then we're gonna take the legs wide. And wide could be a small distance apart, or you might actually turn to the side of your mat and take them wider apart. Again, this is something that tends to be range of motion that you're either born with or not. And if you're not, that's fine. And if you are, go wide, doesn't matter. Same thing, we want to sit as long, as tall into the pelvis as we could. Your hands might be behind you. You might choose to put a wall behind you, or your hands might be in front of you. We want the knees and the toes to point more up to the ceiling, and maybe we can start to walk the body forward. Same thing when we come forward, we're imagining that one day it's going to be the lower abdomen that comes to the ground first, and you're going to wherever is a good place for you. So if it feels useful to you, having a block nearby could be somewhere that you could bring your elbows to get you off of your wrists, create a little less tension there. So any way that you can find to use the things around you that you have to create a little more support, you can do. Keep your easy breathing while you're here. If you are someone who really enjoys the workout part more than the stretch part, that's normal and that's fine and that's good. But something for you to know is that our muscles don't work very well when they're tense. So if we're a little bit tense, we have a lot less power. When we can completely relax and come further down the scale, then we gain more range that we can be powerful in. So our explosiveness or our power needs to come from a place of complete relaxation or rest to be really, really valuable or high output. And if you think about something like a cheetah or a lion, those animals are completely slinky, soft, relaxed, doing nothing, and then they can just turn on the jets and super powerful. So it's highly valuable to your athletic practice to be able to down-regulate your nervous system and relax muscle tissue. Give yourself one more breath here. And then again, move gently, help yourself back upright, and help the legs back together. You can again use your hands. And it might feel nice here at this point just to hug the knees, curl yourself into a ball. You could have the hands behind the legs too, or maybe it's really just hands, but it doesn't matter, just allowing a little bit of comfort for the nervous system and a little bit of maybe stretch through the back after that one. Good, okay, so next one, you're going to take your left leg and cross it however works for you. So the knee might point a little more off to the left side. If you are able to point that knee a little more forward, I want you to do a little more forward. Right leg then is going to cross to the outside of the left leg. You might feel a ton through the outside of the hip and thigh already. You can stay here just as is. You could use your two hands to draw that leg across your body as well. The other thing you could do is start to pull this right foot back closer to your left hip. And if you have the range for it, the right knee might start to tip forward. Again, any step along this path is a good place to be. You're gonna feel slightly different stretches at each spot. You pick what feels best to you. If you've still got range, you sit up nice and tall, and maybe you even extend your chest forward if you're in this version like I am. If you're in the version where you're pulling the leg, you might switch to something like a crease of the elbow at the front of the shin and a hand back behind you. So you pick whatever's best for you. And then all the same rules, easy breathing. You may find as well small little shifts or movement in the body. Change where you're getting the stretch. Go for it if it feels good to you. Nice and gentle, you help to unwrap those legs. Take a moment to do a little windshield wiper before we go to the other side. So if you set your feet to about hip distance and let your hands move behind you, let your legs sway. Some people choose to do this by keeping their body nice and still and moving the legs, and other people like to really roll their hips. You can choose for you, whatever feels best. So we'll do that same pose on the second side, and we'll work kind of towards whatever version we did on the first side. So the right leg this time goes on the bottom. If the knee can point more forward than to the side, do that. And then your left leg crosses to the outside of the right leg. Maybe the knee stays pointed to the ceiling. Maybe you even have to hold it to keep it here. Maybe you want to take the crease of the elbow to the shin and start to bring more twist. Or maybe you want to pull this left ankle closer to the right hip and the leg might start to tip forward. Good. And again, find out where you need to be. Completely normal if it's a little bit different on the two sides. We tend to use our two sides differently. If you feel asymmetry in your poses that is a little more significant, then it's probably something to pay attention to. It might be limiting your ability to get into a squat or ride your bike, anything that you are doing, skiing. It might be causing a slight change in the way that you move between the two sides of your body. Just keep your easy breathing. There too, when you're ready to start helping yourself out of that shape, you can use your hands, unravel those legs. And same kinds of things. If you like that windshield wiper or hugging your knees into the chest, you can add something like that. When you're set, we're gonna come to lay down on our side. So let's lay on our right side first. I'm gonna use my block here as a pillow. Not necessary, but I find it's really nice for me to have my neck more neutral. And because I'm using a block, something that isn't very wide, I'm actually going to shift so that my side of my head is actually really close to the front edge of the block, okay? So if you're using something, just make sure that there is some of that, whatever you're laying on, block or pillow behind your head too. Okay, so laying on the right side, my knees are bent forward. I'm going to bring my arms together, palms touch each other with the elbows straight. So this is a big movement for thoracic mobility. It's a good chest opener, helping to reduce unhappiness in our shoulders and our neck for sure. So what I want you to notice before we start is that your pelvis, left side is on top of the right. Your knees are at the same point. We want to maintain this. So when we start to move, we're not going to slide the hip back. We're going to keep the lower body as it is, even if that means you have to use a little muscle there. Okay? Left hand, you're going to reach it a little further beyond your right fingertips, starting to turn your rib cage somewhat towards the ground. And then you're going to slide back, open that left hand up towards the ceiling, look towards it, and start to twist as far open as you can. Remember, we're not moving the lower body. This is only upper body. So it's normal if you don't get yourself all the way open to arm down on the ground. So you're turning through your ribs. Once your ribs can't turn anymore, we want to keep that left shoulder space really open, the palm aimed up towards the ceiling, or maybe even imagine a little over your head to really open through the front of that left shoulder. And then just as slow, we come back to where our palms touch, and then extend the left fingers a little beyond the right. Good, do it again. Your speed through this movement doesn't really matter. You pick a pace that feels good to you. And if to you it feels better to stop somewhere and just kind of enjoy the stretch, you can do that. Or if you'd rather just keep moving, you could do that too.
So the next time you close that movement off, we can call it done. We'll switch sides. So as you're ready, rolling over, moving your pillow if you have one. So the arms are out in front, palms touching. First, extend that right arm a little beyond the left fingertips, starting to turn the chest towards the ground. And then come back, reach that right arm up, eyes follow that right hand. Thighs stay in the same position, so lower body, pelvis down, doesn't move. Open through your rib cage, twist to the right. And it doesn't matter how close you get to the ground. Notice if there's big difference between the two sides of your body. Again, maybe you want to stay here and breathe for a breath or two, or maybe you want to just start moving back and forth in and out of that twist. One of the really nice things about moving to get our mobility back or to improve our range of motion is it flushes the tissues a little bit better. So if things are tight and sore, it's going to bring more circulation into the area, which is a good thing. And then the other thing that's nice about this is we are teaching our muscles to move through their range from a shortened position to a lengthened position repeatedly in a way that is really calm, and that's a way that helps our nervous system to really integrate that into our body. Maybe just one or two more of those. The next time you close that twist back off, you could call it complete. And excellent. When you're done, you can move a block or whatever you have there out of the way, come to lay on your back. And when you get here onto your back, you're going to draw both of your legs in towards the chest, but separate your knees and reach your hands to grab as close to feet as you can. So ankles are a good place to grab onto. If you can grab your feet, you grab the outsides of your feet. So the thumb points up towards the toes. Start to turn the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. This is called happy baby pose in yoga. And you'll notice that the leg position is very much like the bottom of a squat. So if you are sore because you were squatting, you're definitely going to notice this one. Can you get most of your spine in contact with the floor? And that might mean a slight tuck of the chin to get the back of the neck down. And that might mean a roll the tailbone down to get a little more weight into the pelvis. You might want to stay still, you might want to pull the thighs towards the ground, or you might want to do things like bending, straightening the knees, maybe one at a time or maybe both, maybe rocking your body around. There's not a lot of rules for this pose. It's more one that helps you to move the legs in a way that feels good to you, and it actually puts a good amount of pressure on our SI joints against the floor. So it can be one that settles things going on in the back too. Good. And now one last piece to this, bring the legs together as best as you can. Switch your arms to the outsides of the legs and start to straighten the legs. You're not going to get the legs all the way straight. I'll give you that spoiler alert right away. It doesn't really matter how straight they get. You will feel the backs of your legs. So now we don't want the butt lifting up off of the ground here. You want to try to get the back of your pelvis on the ground. Any amount that you can start to straighten the legs and bring them towards each other, you're going to do. Shoulders pull back towards the mat. Breathe. Normal for there to be a shake in some kind of a move like this. That's okay. It's okay if the legs are quivering a little bit. Breathe here. Lengthen that back line of the leg. And then gently, you're gonna rebend those knees, hug them in towards your chest. Rock a little side to side or forward or back, whatever feels good to you. Beautiful. Roll yourself over to a side and come on back up to seated. Nice. And we're done. Thank you so much for joining me for testing this out. I hope that the stretches helped you out, and I hope you have a really good rest of your day.